It's spooky season, which means there's only one edition of Stephen King books worth casting your eyes over, and that's what we're going to do in this video. Here is an in-depth look at the Halloween editions of Stephen King paperbacks. Hi everyone, happy Halloween, welcome to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is the place for all things Stephen King. So in my regular videos, I take one book at a time, going through his works in chronological order and give you 19 reasons to read each one. Do click around the rest of my channel to see where we've got to so far. I also like to throw out a few specials, and that's what we're doing in this video. If all of that sounds like something you'd like more of, do click around the rest of the channel and maybe subscribe so you don't miss any in the future. So this particular video is another Halloween special for you. So you may remember last time out I counted down 10 scary stories for you to read this spooky season. If you missed that, I'll pop it up there somewhere. This time we're going a bit more visual and doing a celebration of some very cool editions of Stephen King books. I'm talking about a small but very treasured part of my personal Stephen King collection, the Halloween editions put out by Hodder in 2018 and 2019 here in the UK. So as I just mentioned, these editions were released by Hodder over those 2 years, 4 books at a time, and at the time of recording, only 8 of them have been issued in this Halloween style, and they're really fucking cool. So the first 4 that came out were generally just grouped together as scary Stephen King stories, and they spanned 40 years of the man's career. We had The Shining, Christine, Bag of Bones, and Cell. Then in 2019 we got another 4 Halloween editions, this time all centred around female characters. So we had Carrie, Misery, Rose Madder, and The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. So these editions are obviously super Instagram friendly, and you can see their colours really pop and the font choice is superb. Now if you're straining to see these in more detail, don't worry, later on in the video we're going to have a proper look at them front and back, but I've just got a little bit more bollocks to waffle through first before we get to that point. Now aside from looking good, on a practical level, they're really nice to read. The font's really nice and clearly laid out, which is very different to some of the 80s paperbacks I have on my shelf, I can tell you. And they've got the nice sort of flexible spine, which means you're less likely to damage them while you're reading them. So as we edged towards Halloween in 2020, I remember a lot of people on Instagram speculating about what the 2020 Halloween editions might be and hoping for various different things, and then slowly getting sadder and sadder as it became clear that we weren't going to get any more of them. Now this is a series I'd love Hodder to come back to, but given that they've just started their new Rainbow editions and plan to be running those out at least until 2024, we're probably not going to get any Halloween editions anytime soon. But then who knows what might happen in the future. At the end of this video I'll throw out my suggestions for what I'd love to see next in the Halloween editions, and I'd love to hear yours. Pop them in the comments below. Which Stephen King books would you like to see done in this style? Anyway, I promised once I'd got through my waffle I would show you these books in a bit more detail, so let's do that right now, shall we? 3, 2, 1. So first of all we've got The Shining. Nice nod to the movie that King ironically doesn't like, but there you go, pretty cool cover, the spine, and there we go. Welcome to the Overlook Hotel, you'll never want to leave. Very Hotel California that, but nice, yeah. And as you can see, we got nothing can live up to the memory of a good scare, which I think is in the insides of all of them, but we'll find that out, won't we? Christine next, let's just check. Yep, it's the same quote on the inside. So a very cool illustration of Christine. I like the rain effect. Love this font, as I've said before. This is such a cool font. The moon in the background as well. There's the spine for you. Bit dull, but still not bad. Here we've got Jealousy isn't a green-eyed monster. She's a red Plymouth Fury. Christine. There we go. So Bag of Bones, a bit of an overlooked book in King's canon, and one that you don't see that many covers for. So this is pretty cool. I love the orange, very 90s neon orange. Works really well with the pink, I think, and yeah, this is spooky, right? It's creepy. I always imagine Mike's house to be bigger than that, but hey ho. Oh. And then we've got a nice bright orange spine, and not great contrast for people who might struggle visually, but it says he went to dark school late to confront his past. Now he might drown in it. So yeah, these are all very sparse in terms of the blurb on the back, but I like it. It makes them a bit more mysterious. Here's the outlier in the first four. It's Cell, which is a really shit book, but look at that cover. It's probably one of the best of the bunch, which is funny. It's almost like they sort of went over the top on the artwork to try and disguise what was inside. But yeah, I love this artwork. I think the colour scheme is great. Doesn't really relate too much to what exactly goes on, but it looks fucking cool, so we'll let him off. Good spine as well. That one really pops on your shelves. What we've got here, you can run, you can hide, just don't pick up Cell. Even more vague than the other ones, again trying to hide the fact that this is not a good book. So on to the second set of four, and obviously Carrie. I just love this one. The colours in it are sensational. Just look at all of the detail in that flame. You know, you'd have this as a poster on your wall. It's such a fucking cool piece of art. Nicely pops on the shelves as well. Then we've got first came the blood, then came the power. Love that purple. Very nice colour. I think this is probably my favourite of the 8. But let me know what you think in the comments. So Misery. This is going from my favourite to probably my least favourite. It's, I don't know, it feels a bit too zoomed in, a bit too focused. You don't really get a sense of it, and it's not particularly, I don't know, the others have a bit of a comic book scariness about them. This one doesn't necessarily have that, but still looks good. For a book that came out as a set that was really celebrating women characters, this feels like a very masculine choice of cover, which isn't necessarily a problem. It's just a surprise. I'm not saying all of these should be pink, for example, but I don't know, this colour scheme just doesn't really scream Misery to me. So yeah, it's probably the one of the 8 that I'm not overly sold on. Does look good on the shelf though. He's a famous writer, she's his #1 fan, obviously. And again, the red on the blue is not great from a contrast point of view, but there you go. So Rose Madder, similarly to Bag of Bones from the previous 4, an overlooked book, and one that they've kind of really amped up the artwork for to really get your attention. Now, unlike Cell, where they've done really good artwork to mask a shit book, this is a good book. This is a very good book. I like this book a lot, and the artwork on this is just stunning. I mean, look at those eyes, absolutely incredible. And the pink swirls coming out of it, the edge of the frame from the magical painting. This is just a winner. Like this and Carrie are definitely the top 2. We've got a nice bold spine, and then we've got She's on the Run, but He'll Never Let Her Go. Again, not great contrast wise. I don't know how much effort they put into checking these colours. Don't know, it just doesn't seem like they were particularly inclusive on those, which is a shame, but fuck me, that artwork is great. And lastly, at least so far, assuming Hodder don't do any more of these, is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Now this is a book that I don't particularly like, mainly because I'm just not interested in baseball, but this cover is great. I mean, look at this, it just looks like the ball isn't just coming apart stitching wise, it looks like it's bleeding, it looks like it's almost been bitten. There's this mysterious light off in the woods. Yeah, it's really impressive. This one is almost, it's a weird one this, because it feels like the most, out of all of them, it feels like the one that could have been put together from stock images, and yet it just has enough style to fit in with the others. And yeah, it's cool. I like the lighting on it. It's got that sort of washed out, grungy, cross-processed effect that I think is very cool. Bit of a dull spine. The green and blue, I don't know, doesn't quite work for me, but hey ho. And again, not great contrast here, but Trisha is lost in the woods, but she's not alone. I actually like that as an intriguing one. Play down the baseball stuff and make it about the fact that Trisha is lost and doesn't know where to go. But there you go. Those are the old Halloween editions. Metal. So there we go. the Hodder Halloween editions of Stephen King books, which may or may not get added to in the future. Now personally, I would love more of these, and I said I would throw out my suggestions for what I'd like next. So hear me out for these suggestions for the next possible groups of 4 editions. First of all, how about 4 of the short story collections? Don't tell me people wouldn't be rushing to buy Halloween editions of Night Shift, Skeleton Crew, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and Everything's Eventual. I know I would. Failing that, how about the Dead Zone, Pet Sematary, Revival, and Cujo done in this style? They're all suitably scary enough for Halloween. Or Hodder could make use of these editions to shine a light on some of the more underappreciated novels in King's canon. So maybe From a Buick 8, Gerald's Game, Dolores Claiborne, and Duma Key. Anyway, whatever. It'll probably never happen, but it's fun to speculate, right? Let me know which 4 books you would like to see done in this style in the comments below. As ever, if you'd like to come and say hi on Instagram, I'm at Dave Musson, and don't forget to consider subscribing to this channel right here so you don't miss any future videos. We'll be back on the books trail soon enough, but we've also got a few more specials planned before the end of the year, so stick around and hopefully you'll find something you enjoy watching. That's it for now though. Stay spooky everyone.